Brownie, we haven't talked about this yet, and we have to. It would be ridiculous to have you on and not talk about it. But let's talk about the players that left your program with the youth program and went on.
Oh my God!
And not just thrive, but I mean these kids, first round picks, second round picks. I remember when you had Canada and Russia in town, and you had St. Louis playing against them and winning games. What was the whole mindset behind that group of kids you had?
So, when I first retired, how long we got? When I first retired, Basil McRae was the AAA coaching director.
Right.
And I was in Baz's room and or office, and I did some life insurance with him and stuff, and I said, Baz, I want to give back. I mean, the sport that's given me everything. I want to, I don't know what I'm going to do the rest of my life, but I want to give back for the time being and see what's going on. And at the side note, he goes, hey, I got an opportunity to buy part of the London Knights. What do you think about that? Ooh. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Junior hockey, you don't make any money and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I got to ask him, but whether he listened to me or not.
Oh, no, he invested.
Oh, I know he invested, but I don't know if he invested as much as he wanted to after I talked to him. But my God, is that a cash cow up there? Anyways, so
don't listen to Brownie.
So don't listen to. Oh no, I'm good at non-financial advice. So he said, yeah, I got this 88 group that I just hired this guy as the head coach and whatever. And so I started coaching. I started getting the bug, and I started understanding early that you can't run an NHL practice with a bunch of kids that can't pass, skate, shoot, compete, right?
Right.
It's skills. And every coach in minor hockey across the planet needs to teach skate, pass, shoot, compete. It's all about skills. Like at this level, Monty can show them a system. But if a guy can't pass, like Hully just said, you can't play. You can't play if you can't pass.
Yeah, the whole game is moving the puck.
You can't play if you can't skate. You can't play if you can't, if you don't have these skills, you can't. You have to teach the important stuff of competing, because if you can't compete, you can't play either. But that's all we did. That's all we did all those years, Chaser, and you were a part of it. I mean, that's what I learned. And ironically, Patty Maroon, I cut in Pee Wee because he was too slow, too big, too slow. But the next year he came back, and I'm like, this kid, his brain is off the charts. His hands are off the charts. Roller guy. And us Canadians were like, roller, what's that shit? Well, I'll tell you, I recognized all my 88s. They were all frickin' roller guys, all my top guys. They were all roller guys.
Well, Patty Maroon, you brought him back? Or?
So I brought him back. I mean, he's just so skilled, and he was fourth line we only had three lines, but third line, and by Christmas he was maybe our top player. So
tough too.
He was, he's so smart, so handsy, the whole deal, right? Anyways, so Chaser, going back to so when I finally got my own son, Logan, and Clayton Keller and Trent and Luke Martin and Joseph Woll and Brady Tkachuk, and I coached Matthew and Luke
pretty
Kunin,
good players there.
Yeah, but it was all about that. It was all about every day at practice. It was just compete and push each other and develop skill. And there was no systems. I never taught a system until you asked me to coach the St. Louis Bandits. I just think that it's a waste of time, and that's something I learned from Basil McRae as a AAA guy. Like get rid of the board. Like ice time is too valuable. Get these kids with a puck on their stick and developing. And you think back about, I don't know about how you guys develop, but I didn't develop because of my coaches when I was frickin' 11 years old. I developed because I was on the outdoor pond with my older brother trying to be as good as him, and pond hockey and skills, and it was all puck possession and trying to protect the puck. And that's how I became a hockey player, not because some coach at 11 years old taught me how to do the double wide breakout or whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
But sometimes where you need a guy like you is to spread it out through all the categories of skill. Because when I was a kid, a little fat bastard, all I did was shoot. And that's why
you were Patty Maroon. That's why you guys do commercials together.
Yeah, but that's why I've one of the greatest shots ever is because I just shot and I shot and I shot. And why I was a crappy skater is because I never skated. I'm like, this skating thing sucks. It's like makes you sweat.
So how did you find the speed that you needed to score 86?
I went when I played junior in Penticton, scored 105 goals. We were talking earlier about tough guys with Kimby and they're like, well, yeah, I got like 25, 30 goals and 200 penalty minutes. Well, I was kind of the opposite. I got 105 goals and 20 or 25 penalty minutes. A lot of hooking and trippings. But so my coach, Rick Kozbach at Penticton, he talked to me. He said, if you're going to, continue your journey in hockey, you got to keep working on your skating. And at that point, Minnesota Duluth had, a couple years prior, had taken over the 1980 Olympic skating program. And it was Herb Brooks and those guys.
Right.
And it was not a punishment skate whatsoever. It was a make you better skate. And so on Mondays, so I said, well, if I'm going to get better, I got to go to Minnesota Duluth and skate. Because every Monday, no pucks. It was an hour and a half of skating. But it was never a stop and start. It was okay. It was like you had your defense, you had your four lines. So it wasn't like, you got plenty of rest in between. And it was, goal line to blue line, turn left, come back. And then it was goal line to red line, turn left, come back. And then it was goal line to far blue line, come back, all circles. And then far end and back. And then it'd be turn right and come back, turn right and come back. And then it was around the rink that way and then around the rink the other way. And because there was, so many guys doing it, it didn't seem like it took forever, even though like, geez. But it was, and you skated. And you did tight turns and big turns. And then on Wednesdays, we would do power play and penalty killing. And then the pucks would go away, and we'd do a short version of Monday. And it just made you a better skater, and
right.
that's what helped me become a guy who could play in the league. But because I had no idea that I could, I would sit there my freshman year, and that was when Edmonton played Chicago, and every game was like 10-9. Remember that? And then all of a sudden, Edmonton played Dino Ciccarelli, and being at Minnesota Duluth, it was like Dino the Dinosaur. That was his breakout year, and he scored all those goals in the playoffs. And Minnie gave Edmonton a pretty good run before they went to the finals. And so I'm like sitting there and going, can I do this? And you have no idea. And then luckily I was given a chance to go to the World Championships my sophomore year, and I realized that I could play with these guys, and I decided to turn pro. Yeah. And so, but yeah, just skating, stick handling, passing, shooting, competitiveness. You're right. But so I was lucky enough to become a GM with Dallas after I retired. And tell me I know both of you totally will agree with this. But we had our scouting deal down in Cabo, and so I was listening, and I finally said, okay, before we start anything else, I have a question for all of you, amateur guys and pro guys. And I said, when you're scouting, whether it's you pro guys, maybe we're going to make a trade at the deadline, or maybe look at a guy at free agency in the offseason, and you amateur guys, like when we're going to draft a kid, what is the number one thing you look for? Like, what is the number one thing that, like, you sit there and you go, okay, yeah, that's my guy, whatever. What is it? And, it's like...
Same for every guy.
Yeah.
What's
like,
the number one thing?
That's the question, yeah. Well, you gotta shoot. Well, you got to be able to pass. You got to be able to skate. Got to be tough. I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, those are all good answers. And I go, like, do any of you actually sit there and go, does this guy have hockey sense? Like, and first of all, do you know what hockey sense is? Because I'm like, you're giving us players to draft and to trade for and to sign as free agents. Well, I need to know if they have hockey sense. And it would take me 10 seconds watching a guy play. Well, not 10 seconds, but it would take me a game to see if a guy has hockey sense. And that's, to me, the number one thing. Because if you have hockey sense, you being able to teach the guys passing, shooting, competitive.
All that you can teach.
Basically, they have it. You just have to kind of enlighten them onto what it is.
Okay, so that brings me to, and I agree with you 100%, and it's not popular, by the way.
I know it, but it's also not like Wayne Gretzky.
But
he's not the only guy with hockey sense.
Can you teach hockey sense?
There's fourth line guys with great hockey sense.
Can you teach hockey sense?
No, you cannot teach hockey sense.
Completely
That's
agree.
my point.
So are you born with it?
Yes.
Okay.
You were born to play the game.
Okay.
Right? Like, don't tell me those guys that play golf weren't born to play golf, because you can't teach. Like, I'm basically a scratch golfer, and you like, I can't fathom some of the things those guys do on the golf course.
Right.
It's crazy. I get to play with Scotty Scheffler and Charles Howell III down in Cabo, and I watch them, and it's just like, this is a joke.
But the new age coaching philosophies think that they can teach hockey sense.
No, they can't.
So
that's why they shouldn't be coaches. Because they don't have any coaching sense, which is also a thing.
Yeah, but
Scotty Bowman was a genius.
But Hockey Canada and USA Hockey guys, when they check that box, they're experts because they read the.
Yeah, you know
booklet,
why?
right?
Because they're all buddies and they drink beer together.
100%.
That's why they're there.
I completely agree.
It's got nothing to do with skill level or ability to coach.
But don't you think, like, I think, again, when I was 5-6 years old, like, I mean, I was on the outdoor pond and I was learning to play. Did I not develop hockey sense there? Or you think
No,
100%?
you learned to play because you had hockey sense, or you wouldn't be able to learn to play.
Interesting. Because I'm with you, maybe not completely with you.
I think you can turn. I think there's things you can teach kids that give you some hockey sense. I don't think it's all doom and gloom, and when it comes to watch a kid and go, he's terrible, he'll never get it.
Well, no, but
now there is some you'll never teach.
And it doesn't, just because you don't have hockey sense doesn't mean you can't play in the league.
No. I'm just saying.
You're just not going to be really good at
the
it.
game tonight. There's a lot of guys. Sorry. There's a lot of guys without hockey sense playing in the game tonight.
Absolutely.
Right?
And like I said, you don't have to be Wayne Gretzky to have hockey sense.
Right.
Right? You look at Guy Carbonneau and Mike Keane. Those guys are nothing but hockey sense. They do the right thing with the puck every time they get it. You know, they're not the most skilled guys, but they make the right plays at the time to do it. Like, that's hockey sense.
Right.
Right? You get there's a lot of like Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy didn't have a bit of hockey sense. He just relied on pure absolute skill.
And he was skilled.
And physical ability.
Yeah.
He didn't have a brain in his head.
No, listen, again, getting back to the original question, right? Like, I freaking love hockey sense. And so I'm 100% with you. Again, I think that you can tweak it. Like, if you're 50% hockey sense, you can get them to 60% or whatever, but you're not going to get them to 100. You're not going to get them to Gretz or Holly or whatever, right? So I get that. But that is so important and so much more fun to coach as a player or as a coach.
Smart guys.
An old player coach, right?
Like Adam Oates, to me, Adam Oates is the smartest player I ever played with. Ever. I mean, it's a joke how smart he was.
That's because he'd look off 25 and pass it over to 86.
Well,
that's why you love.
Yeah, but that's hockey sense. He knew to do the right thing.
He looked me off so many times. I'm like,
and
I'm
smile
not
at
bad
you while
either,
he did
you know?
it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like Jaromir Jagr, it's like a joke. He doesn't even know, when he came in the league, didn't even know English, and he knew everything about the game.